And I guarantee you I'm not getting any kind of administrative role anytime soon, because why would I leave all of this, Donovan, and all the money I make? All right, 383. I don't really make that bad money. It's just how much the government takes. That's the bad part. All right, it's not how much I actually make.
Yeah, what about YouTube money?
YouTube money, yeah. I'm slowing down. I'm getting like $1 or $2 a day. It's not that much. All right, on page 383, we're talking about point source and non-point source pollution today. Just a couple things, and then we're going to watch a video. The video we watched on China and Linfen, where it's like the Vice video about Chinese air pollution, there's a second part to that, and I want to show that to you guys today. And that's going to kind of lead into this unit, which is on aquatic and terrestrial pollution. So aquatic is in the water, terrestrial is on land. And really air pollution, if you think about it, relates to both of those, because a lot of what happens in air is going to wind up on land and water. So we did that one first. We're going into this one. There's a lot of stuff in this unit. Last unit, I think I had 39 different topics that I had listed out that we worked on. And in this unit, there are 69. So it's almost twice as much content as the last unit. We will not test until March the 5th, probably. So it's going to be, we're going to spend a while on this, okay? So let's go through a point source. Okay, so different types of pollutant. What is pollution again? A harmful substance, harms some type of organism. A point source pollutant refers to a single identifiable source of a pollutant, such as a smokestack or a waste discharge pipe. Anything, it could be like a leaky gasoline tank. It's anything coming from a specific source where you can go over and say, like, there's that pollution leaking from there. Jeremiah's car radiator, I can see it leaking antifreeze out in the parking lot, and there's puppy dogs out here licking that up, and they're all dying. Can't you get that fixed? That is sad, isn't it? Have you ever been to the Walmart parking lot after it rains? It looks like a magical rainbow, but all it is a puddle of death. Sorry, Walmart. Anyway, so point source is where you can trace a pollutant back to a specific place. Now, if you look at the picture on 383 here, we've got a discharge pipe. It says a discharge or sewage pipe. Now, wherever you people out there live, and in our town, we have a sewage treatment facility, like I'm sure you do. And there are the sewage treatment facility. Are y'all familiar with the one over by Pico where the chickens are processed?
Yes.
If you've never been by there, you need to put it in your GPS, drive by there, have somebody drive you by, because you don't need to be looking at stuff while you're driving, and drive by there and look across the road. And there are 3 big concrete tanks that look like giant swimming pools. And there's bubbles coming up everywhere. What's happening over there? They are breaking down our poo. So that's the sewage treatment facility in town, and I'm sure you guys online can look up where yours is, that treats about 95,000 people's sewage. So poop, pee, dishwater, shower, whatever. It doesn't treat any storm water. So all that pretty much runs directly off into streams and creeks and right into the river. But the drain pipe, eventually, we've got 95,000 people's stuff coming in to the sewage treatment plant. And there's a pipe probably about, let me see if I can get this to sit still. Probably about this big. I mean, it's huge, but it's flowing in like super fast into the sewage treatment plant. So where does that stuff have to go in the end? The river. So eventually, all of that stuff that's coming in this gigantic pipe, wide open, 95,000 people's worth of stuff in the city has to eventually go out in the river. So that stuff is treated. It's treated, the waste products are broken down, the microorganisms are killed. Most of it, it's pretty clean by the time they get through if you look at it. Now, there are probably higher nutrient levels, which goes back to eutrophication a little bit. Some places, I'm sure it's treated much less than it is in others. I think our city does a pretty good job of sewage treatment. But that goes into a creek behind the sewage treatment plant. And then from there, about a quarter mile down, it runs into the river. So A lot of places it just will be discharged directly into a river or a stream, and it may not be treated that well. Like, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Uniontown, about an hour south of here, close to Marion. Y'all ever heard of that? They've historically had a very bad problem with sewage leaking into streams and creeks around there before it's properly treated. And they've kind of asked for some federal or state help. But it's been a big issue for the residents there, where you have a lot of raw sewage that's going directly into bodies of water nearby. So that's a big problem. So point source, you can point like, here's where it's coming from. Or if DeQuinte, maybe he's got a septic tank and there's a leaky pipe or something going out to it, and you've got sewage coming up in the yard. So you could trace it back to that one point. And so point source is good in what way? You can look, you can find the location of where the problem is, and I think it would be easier to fix. The contrast there is non-point source. So in our picture here, we've got a herd of beautiful cows. Quick, does anybody know what kind of cows those are? Any of you ag students?
Dairy.
They are a type of dairy cow. Probably where you get your milk from that you drank this morning. They're different breeds of cows, just like breeds of dogs.
They're white milk cows.
These are Holsteins, and so these are the primary milk cows. There are some Jersey and Guernsey and some other breeds, but these are the ones these are the milk makers right here. Now, what problem do you notice with this picture in terms of water and or land pollution?
I think they'd be pooping.
Okay, so they're going to be pooping. I don't even know if they can get down to the river there. It looks like maybe on the right side they can. I'm not sure. But even if they can't, they're going to poop and pee up there on top. And when it rains, what's going to happen? It's going to run off. And so you're going to have poop, you're going to have pee. What do you think the farmers may add to those fields in order to get them to grow? Fertilizer. What do you think they add to get, there's no weeds out there. How do you get rid of weeds? Pesticides. So, and when it rains, those fertilizers and pesticides may run off. So you've got a lot of runoff issues here. And if you look, this just keeps going all the way down through here, all along the riverbanks. And if you go up and down the Black Warrior River or the Cahaba River around here, or I'm sure any river you got where there's agriculture, usually those farms go pretty close to the river. Now, that's going to be called non-point source, because you can't just say, oh, there's the pollution's coming from one specific place. It's runoff from a larger area. It's affecting something, but you can't just pin it back to one place. Now, what do you think the simplest solution would be to limit those pollutants in this scenario with our friendly cows here? Because we like milk, right? I mean, we want, but how could we improve on the situation? I don't think you'd have to move them completely. Did you say move? Move them. No. Come on, y'all know this. What could we do here? What could farmers do in order to prevent a vast majority of those pollutants from getting into that river or stream?
Could they block the side of the river?
So they can't get down in it?
Yeah, and also so things can't wash into it. Like if they had a drainage system.
Is there a natural way of blocking those pollutants? What? Trees. So trees and forests act like what?
Sponges.
They act like buffers. They act like sponges. And so I would think the simplest solution, since we see we've got trees growing here over by that gigantic castle, why not just leave 50 feet of forested area? Put a fence, let it grow up in forest, and let that grow up along the riverbank. That would not only, what would it prevent on the side of the river? Erosion, like massive erosion from happening. And it would also, when it rains, it would help absorb and prevent flooding, and also absorb a lot of those pollutants before they got in the river. So especially talking about like nutrients and waste byproducts. So that would be a very simple solution. Really the only drawback there would be what?
You'd have less land.
You'd have a little bit less land. You have to put up a fence to keep them out of there. Yeah. Because if you have the cows there, they're eventually going to like graze and move around, and they're going to trample and erode, and most of the trees and stuff are going to get gone. We've had cows at home, and anytime you have a forested area, they will hang out there in the summertime. They'll tromp. They make a mess. Trees will die because the roots get exposed, and they erode away, dirt erodes away around them. So you do lose, maybe you might not be able to keep one or two as many cows, but at least is the cost of that worth the benefit of protecting that river from pesticides and fertilizers, eutrophication, some of the other issues that we've talked about? So these are things we have to consider, okay? Are the, what do we call that, a cost-benefit analysis? I'll do that in economics?
We did there.
Do that? Okay. So is the cost worth that? What two things should you be able to do in a body of water if it's fairly clean and safe? Swim and,
Drink.
Bathe.
Drink.
no, not drink,
Fish.
fish. You should be able to swim in it, you should be able to fish in it. Drinking is a little bit different story because most bodies of water can have certain parasites and things growing in there. There's two protists that even are found in mountain streams that'll give you the diarrhea for an extended period of time, DeQuinte. So you got to be a little cautious there. But as far as swimming goes and fishing, those are two things that I think we should all expect out of our bodies of water. And if not, then that's a problem. And even in Alabama, where we think we're pretty clean and we have some nice areas to go swimming and fishing, there are a lot of pollutants in the water. There are many places in Alabama where you cannot eat a largemouth bass because of either mercury pollution or PCBs. Are y'all aware of this? I'll bring up the fish advisory one day next week or have y'all look it up when we got the computers out. But I would say more than half of the rivers and streams that are listed in there, you are advised to not eat largemouth bass and oftentimes larger catfish because of high levels of mercury, and on the east side of the state, PCBs, which is a very harmful toxic chemical that's in the water. So those are things that most people aren't aware of, and those things you should be aware of. So we'll go through and talk about those. All right, that's point source and non-point source.